Welcome back to The Red Receipts. My name is Caity.
My name is Jaclyn.
And I'm Devon.
I think I'm not you went first because you're like, I'm getting my fucking name out.
You are, first of all, I don't know. We don't have like an official order. And then and then I felt like maybe we did. Because I was like, Devon.
You usually went, but it was just silent. So I was like, I guess I'm second now.
Okay, that makes sense that maybe I was frozen because I was like, Devon, how dare you?
I did pause a bit, like waiting for you. You didn't say anything. So I was like, I guess I'll go.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to like roll back the tape for you guys and be like literally me being like, what the hell? I thought just starts introducing herself while I'm like, and I'm
I thought you were like forcing my hand because you were tired of like me just like waiting.
No, it was in that moment that I'm like, you know what, we kind of do have we try and like switch off who goes first, but
listen, I don't think we have an official order of anything around here.
No, formality has never been, and structure have never been key to this podcast.
No, not at all.
Mm-mm.
But let's see, where were we?
Literally,
where were
Denver.
we in the plot? Denver. Yes, we just got back from Denver. Oh, Denver.
Can we just start? Let's just start with the weather, okay? Because we were all like, spring girls trip, can't freaking wait. And then we like all check the weather and we're all like, did we pack properly? The answer was no. But also, it snowed while we were there.
Hardcore snowed. We were there the one weekend where it suddenly dropped 50 degrees and was snowing. Like, because leading up to the trip, I was like, oh, it's 70 and sunny, lows 60s, some nights 50s. This is going to be perfect spring weather. No. I think the moment we got there, it started snowing. And then it really snowed the next day, like blizzard. Well, to me.
It's like flurries.
Inches of snow.
I was like, I've never seen snow like this except in the mountains. I'm really living in Denver right now. Like, this is crazy. I'm in a blizzard. I don't know if my plane's going to be able to take off tomorrow.
Gonna get snowed in.
I'm gonna get snowed in.
Oh my god! And then we got snowed in.
It felt like that though, we didn't want to go anywhere. It was like it was all gray and overcast. That's the other thing is like sometimes it can snow and then the sun will come out. There was not I don't know where the sun was not to be seen. Like there was sunlight, but it was all so overcast. Like it was so dreary. I know they had no control over that, but like it didn't help.
I don't know. I feel like maybe Lisa did. Like she was like, I'm gonna make this 10 times more depressing for all of you.
No worthy sunlight is gonna make its way through. Although there was like a cute moment of like the snow, big beautiful snowflakes falling, and we went outside and kind of, danced around in it, if you will.
It was a beautiful cage. We were trapped.
It was a beautiful cage. Oh my god!
It was our one moment of sunshine that we were let out.
Oh, Denver. Yeah, we spent. That was like for one of our trips. That's probably the most we've ever spent like in one location. Like, yes, we always have a hotel, but like we left the hotel like maybe once or twice.
We didn't even go downtown Denver, so like this is like outside. So I don't even think if someone says like, "Oh, have you been to Denver?" I'm gonna say no. Because I don't think I truly have been.
No, because we were technically in Aurora, not even really in Denver.
No.
And then when we went to lunch that one day, I think we were still in Aurora.
We were.
Yeah.
We never made it, quote unquote, to the city.
Mm-mm.
Wow. So then the readers never really took Denver, did they?
We took something.
Hot take. The readers thought about Denver. Never actually achieved Denver.
I don't think we took it. I don't think we took it. But Denver did take us.
I lost things.
We lost a lot. Number 1, hope. Number 2, my dignity.
My patience.
Oh. Yeah.
And faith, really, my faith in other people. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was a shit show.
Okay. I mean, okay, so I do recall our group chat thread, like the 6 hours, 8 to 12 hours, whatever it was before we were getting ready to leave. And it was very much like, are we prepared? No. I mean, we weren't running the event, but honestly, that's probably the vibe that I'm guessing the event coordinators were also. What's happening? I don't know. We'll see. That was very much our vibe going in. Who knows? We'll see what happens, which I think maybe put us like in a much better headspace for what actually occurred. It's kind of like they tell you not to panic in like emergency situations because like you'll make it worse. We literally did not think that, like, we didn't have all these grand ideas of what it would be. So when it didn't live up to any of the notions, like, I know there was obvious disappointment, but to me, like, we kept the bar pretty low, which is then amazing that it somehow went below the bar that we set that was quite low. So just overall,
which is kind of hard to do, like if you go in completely just blind, like really no expectations on the table, and you still are below that. Just
how we didn't sign up for any of the extra events, like none of the, like nothing like that. Like we went in just for like the basic ticketed level, and we still didn't get what we were supposed to be offered on that like basic level.
Yeah. So I guess let's start from the beginning, just from like our experience and then sort of how things unfolded. So we got in Friday, right? We all got in Friday. Was that Friday or Thursday?
No, Thursday.
Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. Okay, we got in Thursday, and registration was that evening.
Yes.
Which is crazy to think that we needed to register a whole day before this event. But apparently the people of this event needed that time because we stood taking it back one more. We were like, oh, we have to wait in a line. So we grabbed a cocktail or a glass of wine to go wait. We grabbed a glass of wine to go wait in line, thinking maybe we would be in and out of this line in like 30 minutes to an hour if max, like, you know. So we go, and there's a huge line from where the doors are to one of the convention halls all the way down to basically check in for your hotel room. And if you've ever been to a Gaylord, these hotels are massive, insanely massive. They hold thousands of rooms. There's thousands of attendees because they can hold like 2 or 3 different conventions at the same time. So just think about that for a second, like how far back we are in line, okay? And we're like, oh, this is probably it. Like we see all the girlies, we see like the book totes, yada yada. And we stayed in that line. After looking at my phone, I think we were in there for like 2.5 hours waiting in line.
And for what? Because I think us thinking, okay, maybe the whole reason that there is a check-in or registration on Thursday is because there's a lot of information they're going to provide to us.
Yes.
There's a lot of like communicating that's going to happen, because literally I remember being like, that must be what's taking so long, is there must be a lot of things to pick up or like checking in. And to our like surprise, I don't even know why we checked. I mean, we obviously got a few things, but I remember thinking, why is anything happening right now? Like, why? One, like, first of all, there's not one sign. There was not one iota of signage at this event.
No signage on site.
No welcome.
There was no welcome.
Not even like welcome Readers Take Denver, unless it was on like the screens that they literally have to put up because they're like the screens that rotate like what's going on at the hotel. That's the only signage I saw. Like the hotel themselves were like, maybe we should say this is happening here this weekend.
And then there was no communication ahead of time of where registration was going to be, where we needed to go, what was going to be given out at registration. Nothing. Not even like a map, or it's just nothing. There was just a time and Gaylord, come and find us. Like that was literally it. So to our dismay, as we were going through the line, we start seeing these like poor volunteers like literally sweating their asses off, running up and down, handing people. Oh, go ahead.
Before that, I feel like we have to mention there was 2 lines. So we stood in one. We stood in one line for like an hour and a half, maybe. And at the end of the line, we received a Post-it note. There was nothing on the Post-it note. It was just a yellow Post-it note. And then she told us to go wait in the other lines with this Post-it note, which did nothing. Like, I never handed this Post-it note to anyone. I don't know why I was holding it. And the next lines that we had to go in was run by first names, not last names, first names. So, of course, the one line is, like, all the way past, like, to the elevators and stuff, and the other line was so short.
Yeah, because you had A through L, and then you had M through Z, and it's common fucking sense. Or you just look at, or you look at your registration list and be like, oh, if we're gonna split this up, A through L is gonna get 100-page list, and M through Z is gonna get 3 pages. Like it's you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
So like this 2 lines were just split up. Like, so there's not like a blockade blocking like people walking who aren't in line. But, like, the Post-it note was so weird. And then it was just like, once you got past that, you could just get into line.
Didn't one of the volunteers say like, oh, if one person in your group has a first name L through Z, you can just get over in that line?
Yeah.
The amount of mixed communication signals that we were getting constantly, like, oh, you can just do this. Oh, you can't, or you should. And honestly, like, even being in that line, like, I had no confidence at any point in time that I was where I was supposed to be, that I was doing what I was supposed to be. Yeah. Luckily, like I said, we had our glass of wine. We were like set on like we're enjoying our time together, and that made everything. I just can't imagine going to this alone. Like, I would be so upset because it's hard enough to like go somewhere, but luckily we had each other to like talk and like to take. That was hours in line. That is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank God we had our wine.
Thank God we had our wine.
I do enjoy that we took our policy of being at the parks and applied it to the convention of before we get in a line, we get a drink. And
one of the best parts was a woman came up to us and was like, oh, where'd you get your wine? Like, that's such a good idea. I'm going to go like run and grab a glass. And instead of directing her to the lobby bar, which is where we got our glass of wine, Jaclyn goes, oh, they sell bottles in there in like the convenience store, and direct her to go get a bottle, which honestly was the right move.
Because you go, oh, you can just get a whole bottle right there. And I was like, Jaclyn, no, by the glass.
No, at that point I was like, we've already been in line for 20 minutes and we've literally moved 5 feet. So
we should just spoiler alert, we did end up just getting a bottle at one point during this convention and just keeping it in Katie's bag.
No, because it was so embarrassing because this is now day 2, literally had a whole bottle of wine in my bag, and you could see it popping out, and literally Kat Singleton's husband and the volunteer there, my cup was empty, okay? Mm-hmm. And I was holding it around, and he was like, he was being such a gentleman. He was like, oh, I can take that and throw it away for you. And my belligerent ass was like, oh no, it's okay. I have a whole bottle in my bag. I'm just going to top it off.
Like, I'm going to need this. You can't have it. Like, there's more wine.
And then I was like, sorry, that was so embarrassing. I literally have a full bottle of wine in my bag. Like, I could not be more embarrassing. Like, I'm so sorry. And they were like, no, that's amazing. I love that. And I was like, please stop. You're being way too nice. Like, I'm an embarrassment to the book community. Okay.
But with how the event was going, now that we know everyone was having the same experience we were, I don't think anyone would blame you.
And like,
I don't think nobody was.
More people should have been drinking during this event, because that would have just made it more fun. Because I think that's the only way that we like truly got through this weekend was like just being constantly just like one glass of wine at a time. It was just like, it was so stupid. Like and like, we haven't even gotten to like the thick of it. We've been talking about this stupid fucking line for 15 minutes. Like,
the only way we could get through the weekend was an alcohol crunch, to be honest. Without the alcohol, we'd be nothing.
If I had $1 for every time someone saw us like walking around with like wine glasses, like, oh, they've got the right idea. And I'm like, no, we literally have the only idea. Well, because
in the beginning we were getting compliments. They're like, oh, it's such a good idea, such a good idea. But I think by the third day they were like, oh, there they are again. With their wine glasses.
The girls with the wine glasses. Okay. It's like their shtick.
Yeah, so I just want to go out and say, if you saw us there with wine in our hands 24/7, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Proof or it didn't happen.
And if you ever see us again at a book convention, just come up to us and ask for a glass, and we probably have it in our bag. And we'll say, we'll top you off.
I got it in my bag.
God, speaking of bags, so as we were getting closer to the registration line, it should go without, we can't not mention this. They were handing out the like merch backpacks, and like there was no like, it was just like we hadn't even gotten to the registration table yet. So I was like, oh, we're gonna get it now. And so there's just volunteers running through, like handing out, and like I think we were like some of the last people to be handed one, and then literally those volunteers disappeared.
We were literally the last people, the very last people to get bags, and there was no one behind us that got bags.
And I couldn't understand that. I was literally like, how do you run out? Like, it's not like that was like a free thing. Like how do you know how many people are going to be there? You know how many there should be. And guys, the line was so long behind us, like so long behind us.
Retrospectively, I think what happened was they ended up opening up the event to more people after the initial sellout. And they're like, oh, we can fit more people in because they were money hungry thieves. And so they ended up selling more tickets than what they had available. So they only had backpacks and the stuff that came in the backpack for the initial people, because that's what they originally told sponsors the quantity that they needed. And they didn't up that at all. But that bag was so absolute trash. I'm so sorry to any author who sponsored any piece of that. It was so awful, like, and I say that in the nicest way. Like, it was just all gimmicky. There wasn't anything of value at all. And I think that comes from the top, because you can only, as a sponsor, you can only buy into what they're offering. Like, sure, you can like suggest, oh, hey, like I make this X product and I'd love to include it in your bag. Sure. But typically it's like, oh, we have a spot for you to put your name on a sticker. Oh, we have a spot to put your name on a water bottle. Oh, we have a spot to put your name on the backpack. Like, would you like to sponsor it? And then they pay. Like, it's just an exchange of money. And the event is in charge of that.
And when you say put their name, we mean in non-serifed, bold as like plain as hell font, someone's name. Like, not even a logo. Like on like the bags themselves, it was just someone's name in all caps. And we were like, I wonder who that is or what they're about. But like, there was no like branding to any, like it was literally someone's name plastered on something, which just doesn't add any value to that person whatsoever. So, and then there was talk, which again, we gave away all of our bags to people around us who, there were people actively upset, and like,
yeah, well, because
we weren't gonna.
The girl behind me was like literally throwing a fit. She was like, "There's no more bags." Like, what do you mean there's no more bags? Like, I paid for this. I need a bag, and we had already like gone through it, and she was literally arguing with a volunteer as we were getting our name tags, and I was like, do you want mine? Like, I will happily give it to you, because it's just one more thing I have to take home with me, and half this is probably going to go in the trash. Like, if you really want it, I'd rather go to someone that would like make use of it and like use it for the 3 days to put their books in. Like,
I laugh. And then right behind that, we Devon and I were trying to offload our bags for the same reason. Like, also like thinking, okay, which was smart. I need room for special editions and things I'm actually going to buy in my suitcase, which turns out I did need all of that. But like, I'm trying to explain to the person behind me, they haven't clued into the fact that there are no bags. They're like, no, I'm going to get mine. And I'm like, no, ma'am,
no, you won't.
No, you won't. This is all it. If you want it, you take mine. And it was funny because at first she was just like, why are you trying to give me this? And then it kind of like, it hit them a little late that like, oh, and then they were like very thankful and nice, but at first they're just like, why?
They were like, I said no, you won't. I gave it and I left. So I was like, I just feel weird about that exchange.
So if that was you,
Sorry, I like threw my bag at you and left.
Like, kind of take weird.
Just threw it.
Katie like actually had the right individual. She literally de-escalated a situation. Meanwhile, we were like creating one.
We escalated the situation. Not to mention the people standing directly behind them who were like, "You're not getting a bag," and they didn't get a bag. Sorry to inform you.
Not to mention, you're better off. You're better off.
Yeah.
I promise. But so the one thing we were looking for in this bag was a map of where everything was, and that just like wasn't included. And so, just a note for the event that is now canceled.
Just notes.
Just notes
in general.
But moving on from registration. Oh wait, no.
Back. We're
going back. There was a piece of paper that was apparently the most important thing to have, that gave zero context as to what it actually was. And we found out through conversation with other people what it was that the following 2 days, there was going to be numbers announced in
WhatsApp.
In WhatsApp. And they were going to announce a set of numbers, and if your number was included in that, that's the room that you could go to. And at first, all of us got completely different numbers, and so like the next 2 days we were not going to be with each other, and we're like, That's absolute horseshit. We came together, we need to be together. So we like swindled our way into getting a set that was all of our numbers together.
Mm-hmm.
But this paper, I tell you, was actually so confusing. It didn't say what's up, what's down. It didn't say, like, it just gave no information. It just had the 4 numbers on it, and we were supposed to figure out what the fuck we were supposed to do with it. So after talking to like literally 10 different people, figuring it out. So then the next day comes around, okay, and the numbers start getting called out for what rooms we were going to be in. And I shit you not, you guys, one of our numbers was like 3,300. Okay. For the first hour and a half of signing, they had only let in numbers 1 through 100 for the first hour and a half of a 3-hour signing. I was like, we're never getting in. We're never going to see the people I want to see. Like, this event is absolute horseshit. Like, when are they going to get to 2,000? So then they started like bum rushing people in for the next 2 hours to where like they were calling out like a fire marshal, like, get out, like them flipping the switch and blaming us for being in the room that they called people into, and then having to like escort people out. Like, it was an absolute train wreck.
Well, not to mention is everything just confusing. There's not like a lot like what these numbers are for, how we're going to call it. There was not a lot of information given, but so much so like I feel like they almost went beyond just not providing information to just deliberately making things confusing. Mm-hmm. The ballrooms are like A, B, and then on the note they'd be like 1, 2, and we'd be like, the ballrooms are already named. Why did you rename them?
Yeah.
And get like make them A, B, and they're like 1, 2, and we were like, is A 1? What is A?
Yeah, so we're like, okay, logically then 1 would pair with A and 2 would pair with B. No. 1 was B and 2 was A, because that makes fucking sense.
If there was signage, I might care less. If there was signage to be like, you know what, A is now 2 and B is 1, that would have been helpful. But we literally had to ask. I was asking questions that I'm like, I shouldn't have to ask this, just consistently. And I think that's like the one thing I'm like, they just made this like so much harder on themselves. There was an easier answer around every corner. And I think you hit it on it for a second there. It was like the scalability. Hey, we're talking about Katie, like how they've oversold tickets. I think I saw somewhere that it was the year previous, it was like 800, right? Like in that, like it was a smaller, much smaller.
Under 1,000 was the
under 1,000. And then have you guys heard total? I've heard conflicting numbers, but definitely over 3,000.
I think it was over 3,000 people that were
3,500.
Yeah.
I heard up to 4, but I think I would say in between the 3 to 4. And I don't know if the 4,000 that I was hearing was like including authors, including volunteers. The scale was huge. And the idea that you went from 800 to 3,000 and you didn't change any of your procedures it's actually, and I know people have talked about this, like it's beyond like, oh, it's embarrassing. That's like so dangerous. Like,
yeah,
literally dangerous.
There was, wait, Devon, tell the story that you overheard in the FedEx line.
Oh my God. So I was waiting to ship our books back in FedEx, which the line was so long and like a madhouse in the morning. So I was just kind of waiting there, just minding my own business and just eavesdropping on everyone's conversation, just to like see if our experience was like, what's the word? If everyone shared our experiences.
Yeah.
And one girl was talking about how because they opened the one ballroom first, which everyone kind of got into pretty early on, and it was packed with authors. Like everyone's table was side by side. Everyone was going in there because the other ballroom was 1 to 100 still, so no one was really allowed in there. So we were all in this one room, and a girl fainted, or was on the verge of fainting, she says, and she goes, and then they gave me a water bottle and a lemon bar, I believe she said. And like they were helping me and everything. And then they made her pay for the water bottle and the lemon bar after like she almost fainted in this room, that like they did this. And then they're like, okay, that would be $10. Like what?
Cash or card? I bet a tip option even came up. I wouldn't be surprised.
I bet you they were holding out that square thing and asked for a fucking tip. Thank you, fucking assholes. Like, no, there was like, I don't know where the budget went. Actually, I do. It went to Post-it notes. That's where the entire budget went to, because lest we forget, the Post-it notes continued into the next 2 days because we would be standing in line for an author. Oh, and the line got apparently too long, even though we were like 5 people from the author. Okay. And this girl came up to us. She was like, the line's too long. We're cutting it off right here. We're like, okay. If you say so. Like, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Hands us a Post-it note with the author's name and scribbly scribble. You can barely even read what the author was. And then a number. I could have written myself a Post-it note that said, for example, Morgan Elizabeth 1, and then gone back in line. Like, you gotta be joking me. A Post-it note? And I was like, oh, okay, well, our number is never gonna get called because then we had to look for that said number on the Post-it note in the WhatsApp. And I'm like, how is this information getting to the WhatsApp? Because you don't have a phone on you. So how are you, where's this going?
Not to mention, you'd get in a new line, and then they would be like, oh, God, we got to get back in the other line because now it's our turn in that line.
So then you would have to get out of that line, and then you're just screwed.
We were actually, the line etiquette, like, that's not usually how I conduct myself, but we were splitting ourselves. I go, okay, I'm in this line. You go get in that line. Like, it felt like it was chaos, like, to say the least.
And then it's like we had literally 10 minutes left of signing. So we were like, we gotta make this snippety snap. Like, we ended up seeing everyone we wanted to see in literally 15 minutes at the end because it was so stupid chaos.
Not to mention the Post-it notes carried over to the influencers and the VIPs. Like, they didn't have some people's badges, so they were writing VIP on the Post-it notes and putting it on their name like tags.
We should have done that ourselves.
I heard other people like saw it and started writing VIP on theirs. It's like, what's stopping them?
But also, like, what made like apparently nothing made for VIP access.
Maybe that's why we were handed a blank Post-it note when we waited in the first line. It was a get out of jail free card.
It was like, we were VIPs. Oh my God.
They said, do you want to get into a line? Do you want to be a VIP? Here's a blank slate. You choose your own path.
Oh, 1000%. That is.
I still can't get over, like, we were talking about, I think even in advance, I was getting weird vibes from this event just in the communications that came to us before, which were very, very slim, and like there wasn't much to be read in those emails anyway. But then there was like, there's constant selling of things inside the event that I'm like, I just don't understand why this isn't included. Like, I'm never going to get over. I really am glad that we said, it's okay, we'll just do our own thing for food and drink the whole time, because nothing was provided, for one. And two, I remember thinking that those waffles, I think it was on Friday, like I was like, I think I'm pretty positive that's included for us. And like we're like, it's okay, we'll do our own thing.
No, because
Thankfully.
we said we were going to go to the waffle breakfast because we saw on the program, we're like, oh, we'll go get waffles and mingle with people in the morning. That sounds like fun. And then we ended up making alternate plans, and thank God we did, because
they were like gotten yelled at.
Yeah, well, I mean, half the time, if you wanted any tea, just like go straight to that WhatsApp, where like there was never once that it wasn't an attendee's fault. Like it was, people are eating the waffles, and I'm like, well, yeah, shouldn't they? And they're like, no, you had to pay for the waffles. And I'm like, well, that wasn't very clear. So, and then they were blaming the hotel also in the WhatsApp, being like, the hotel is refusing to make more waffles. And at every point, it was, the finger pointing was absolutely uncalled for. Just, it wasn't us.
My favorite WhatsApp message that we received that weekend was, I think it was like the first day, and it was like, hey everyone, check your bags, like smiley face emoji. Someone stole $400 worth of merchandise from this table. And we were like, what?
Bring it back.
Bring it back. They're not going to bring it back.
I just love how it started so friendly. Like everyone checked their bags, like as if it was a mistake, and then they were like, "Someone stole $400 worth of merch." I'm like, I think they know if it's in their bag. I don't think we all have to check.
Jeez.
Also, I wanted to respond so bad, like, I'm sorry, I didn't get a bag.
I would check a bag if I knew.
I would check it if I got one.
You couldn't comment on the WhatsApp messages.
No.
You could only reply in emojis.
And all the emojis were the angry, screaming face, like every single time, because it was something just so bullshit. Either numbers so low that you would never get into the room, or shit like that, where you're like, what the fuck?
And at
who
the
said
end,
the waffles I thought were free? Who's going to bring back the shit? No one.
And at the end of the event, it was just a bunch of messages being like, this author signing in like this hallway, and this author signing out of their hotel room, and just like chaos, because no one got to see the people they wanted to see. So the authors had to like
pre-orders.
Yeah, the authors were like taking in their own hands, being like, okay, meet me here, because
they had all those books that there were so many books that authors were talking about. Like I have so many pre-ordered books that those people can't even get in the room to get their books for me that they paid for. Like that's ridiculous. That's bad. That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole thing. I laugh. I think I looked through everything through our like, I guess it was through a glass of wine, but like we were opening up that WhatsApp and like, oh guys, there's tea in the WhatsApp. Like our attitude was probably the thing that got us through, because at any point we were trying, I think it was like the laugh instead of crying situation most of the time. I was like, we just have to laugh about how wild this is. How crazy is this?
Yeah. And the wildest stuff didn't come out until after the event. We like talked to some authors about their experience, and they were talking about what a shit show it was. Like even prior to the event, like the communication leading up, the thing about the separating them in different rooms, even though they all paid the same amount. And it just felt very like high school, divvying up like the popular authors with the non-popular. And like, even though like some of the ones in the other room were just as big or bigger than the ones in this other room, like it just made absolutely no sense. And the poor authors, like them getting the lights turned off on them and getting yelled at, and like the zero time to set up. What are the, oh my God. And then
and Rebecca Yaros being treated like she needed a secret service.
Yeah.
They like put her, I honestly, that's what, and I'm glad that Rebecca came out and kind of like her and her team said some things and said their piece about the situation. And I'm glad they did, because I would not want to be associated with that. But the way that they like literally hid her from us.
Yes.
She had her own room.
She was in a private room. You had to pay, I believe you had to pay a ticket to go and see her specifically and get your book signed. And they were like, do not talk to her when she's walking through the halls. Do not even make eye contact with her. If you see her, do not even look her in the eyes. She will have security for the whole time. Like, oh my God. Like, it was.
That was weird. That was
we were having lunch and she like just casually like just walked by us. No one's bothering her. Like no one's. I feel like this community, like we're not we're not gonna like go up and be like bother her.
No, and then I saw her signing at one point too, like in the hall. Which then all I could think about was like the way that she was like their quote unquote like headliner and like their big get, and like yet most people did not have access, like unless they were gonna pay more. Which to me, I'm just like, what did we pay? I still, again, I understand the Post-it budget was probably out of control. The Gaylord is expensive. I understand that, but like there was make the tickets more expensive then and include more. It's just such a weird, like I laugh, like us, we didn't go to a lot of other things and probably glad that we didn't because they all costed money and I didn't see the value in what they were charging. Just from an event like perspective, we've done events before. So when you see what it's costing and you're like, wait, and nothing's included, like to go to like was it a masquerade or those events and things like that, those are supposed to be included, but they included nothing. Like there was no drinks included. It was basically a room with a DJ.
Yeah. No decorations.
Nothing. And no security. Which we now have not only heard about, we've seen actual video footage of like this, like what happened at, was it the masquerade or I don't even remember.
I believe the masquerade, which actually looking back at that content, I don't think a single person was wearing a mask. I think they were all just like dressed up.
Which as they should be, because like if there's like literally no decor, imagine like going all out only to walk into a conference room.
And like the lights were on, like I'm sorry, but like
not one vibe was checked.
DJ also having his lights around, and then like I'm able to see like just clear as day everything that went on in that room.
No, but we had our own. We made our own fun.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most beneficial things that happened in our favor was that Taylor Allison Swift decided she was going to drop an album while we were together, which was very special. Indeed, like that's such a like once in like us being together, like when it releases, I was like, oh gosh, can't beat this. So we planned our own little party.
It was pretty epic. We like went all out. We did decorations. We had like matching not matching, Mary-Kate and Ashley, if you will, outfits on themed, and it was so cute. Our room could not have been any freaking cuter. Like it's all on social, right?
If you want to see it.
Yeah, it just, and listen, it just doesn't even do it justice, okay? Because it was just seriously so cute. We had the best time. We made cocktails in our room.
Oh, did we? I was watching Devon's like vlog for the weekend, and I was like, oh, we were making them and we were drinking them. That was happening. Like there were the tears. I mean, don't get me wrong, the album was worthy of all the accolades, but there were moments I was looking back and I was like, oh, you were full on crying.
No,
I could have been the espresso martini. But...
No, you started crying at...
Did you stamp me?
No. Like, there was crying. I couldn't think of the song for a second. There was definitely tears like throughout and like a lot of gasps, but you started full on crying during Clara Bow.
Yes. Yes.
And which then made me cry because if I see someone else crying, I cry. So then I started bawling. I was like, thank God this is the last one on this side of the album because I won't make it to side B. Like I was literally like tears were pouring down my face. And for what reason? I don't know.
I look back and I think it was our experience. I think we were healing through registration. Like it was like where is this coming from?
Trauma bond?
Yes. I think it was the event itself was the like no sunshine for days. Like we were it was not great. And I'm like, maybe that's why some of the crying was happening. The emotions were running high.
Yeah.
I just remember I cried in the beginning because, like, I don't know why we were so emotional. But then towards the end, I think I just had no tears left. And plus, I cry less when I'm drunk and I cry more when I'm sober. So you guys like wanted to take a selfie of like all of us like crying and like what a moment. And then you guys are both like teary-eyed and I'm just not. I just look heartless, like
dry-eyed,
red-eyed, and tired.
Tired.
Yeah. We were quite tired. We had to like break up listening to both sides, which I mean, honestly, a sane person should. That's a lot of songs in a row. So we had to break up our little listening party, which I'm glad that we did. But no, overall that was probably the most fun. And again, I laugh. We like made some jokes about like who runs a book event and doesn't see the like potential for overlap between Taylor Swift girlies and book girlies, and doesn't like, you literally were handed like the gem of a lifetime with Taylor releasing this. Like you could have turned one of those sad ass little ball wannabe dance like bad proms into like a listening party, and like you would have like you know what I mean, it would have cost you nothing.
They had like a sport bar it was one of those sport bars that the whole wall was just a bunch of TVs. I'm like, you could have projected the Taylor Swift, like the lyric video up there and just filled the sport bar during off hours.
You could have.
And like you could have charged ticket prices that were like amounts to a Taylor Swift watch party ticket prices. Like they had the lunch with the stars for like $100 and some where they got like chicken nuggets and thrown at a table with one of the authors, which I don't think a lot of authors knew they were involved in.
Yeah.
No.
But like I would have paid that price to go and just literally, you don't even have to give me food. I would have just paid it to get into that room with like a bunch of Taylor Swift fans to listen to the album together.
And that's like so low, like there's no cost because everyone's at the bar, they'll buy the drinks themselves. You just have to literally stream YouTube on your TV screens. And like maybe there's a rental fee to rent out the sports bar, maybe. But if it's like after, like you can make something.
Yeah, you pay the bartenders for their time of being there, rent the room.
So dumb.
You know, it was funny because we usually have our usual like, oh, it'd have been cool if they like, which I guess is what we're saying, but it could have been cool if you would have done a Taylor Swift party. But it's like that they needed to redo this entire, like down to the itinerary, start the hell over with this event. Like they're which I laugh because I think we said like there's no way they should cancel next year. Before even half of that stuff came out, we were just like amongst ourselves being like, they need to go back to the planning board and start over. And they need a year to do that. Like, you know,
they
sit
just
with their
needed
thoughts.
to spend some of the money that they earned is what they had to do. And yeah,
that is kind of like step one, but you know, I don't want to force anyone to spend money on an event that they're holding, you know.
Also, not everyone spends every dime of their event to give their attendees the best time.
Yeah,
and take no money for themselves.
It's really on us for expecting something that we paid for. I don't think we should have, even though our expectations were on the floor, they were still way too high.
If I'm glad we bought our tickets however far in advance, because sometimes it would hit me like how much I paid for what I got, and I'd get pretty mad, and then I'd just be like, no, but like it was an opportunity for us to spend time together. Obviously, and the thing anyone will say about Readers Take Denver, there's always the like little asterisk of, but the people that you met there, the authors were amazing, which is true. The community is so great, like the people we talked to, like that made the event. But that shouldn't be what like that, like literally we could all just say, hey, let's go to this city. You know what I mean? Like the organizers themselves literally benefited from the fact that like we got to spend time with our community and with like the authors and things like that, and they really shouldn't have, but that was the best part by far.
Now I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, God.
I'm like, same. I'm like, it was so, and I feel like we didn't even really get into half of it. Like, obviously, there's a bunch of more traumatizing things that happen to specific individuals. Like, go down the threads, go down the TikTok rabbit holes if you want to get like the more juicy deets, because we're just like barely scratching the surface, because
we're talking from our experience and not everything that happened that we were just not there for because we were listening to Taylor Swift in our hotel room.
Exactly.
I know, it's like no wonder we became known as the girls with the wine glasses. Like, they just didn't see us very much, because when they did, like, because we'd be like, let's go back to the room, or let's go get food, or oh damn it, I gotta mark the clip. Looks like my thing got disconnected.
Oh fuck, it wasn't just a phone call?
It is a phone call.
Oh, then it should just come back right on after the phone call goes out.
My thing is moving. Great. I'm not going to be in the same spot. Fuck. I should have left it, but I couldn't tell it was a phone call because it went out so far before it rang. Okay. Okay, let me mark the clip again because we'll cut this out. Excuse me. What were we? Oh.
You were saying something.
Well, it clearly wasn't anything worth saying. Maybe it's a time to switch gears. Okay, so we have reader's take, and then okay, we can talk. I'm trying to think of a segue because we have been talking about us listening to.
I'll just say, well, again, if you wanna, the juicy deeds are out there. Definitely go down the rabbit hole, because honestly, I spent a good amount of time Sunday afternoon going through everything that everyone and anyone was saying, and then talking to other people about what was going on. It was just crazy. So definitely recommend going down there. But I think we have spent more than enough talking about our experience. So moving on. That's your cue.
I'm like, I
can't. Are we gonna go into the whole Taylor Swift and?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, like a way to.
We're already at 50 minutes.
Yeah, that's why I was like, do we need to even talk about it? Since we weren't like on the topic of Taylor Swift anymore, we'd have to bring it back up.
No. Moving on.
Just move past that.
Is there anything else we should? Because I feel like we've talked about this whole thing, and that's all we've talked about.
Is that your state, Dumber?
Or just leave it at that.
For the episode?
Yeah.
But it doesn't leave it on a very good note.
Should we end on a good note and talk about our recent reads and just end it on a few book topics?
Okay, I think I have a segue so we can just talk to books. Okay. Oh. Okay. No, but moving on, we did take home a pretty good amount of books. I managed to fit most in my suitcase, which was like the heaviest my suitcase has ever been. But I think we did get some good finds. I don't know, have you guys read? I haven't read anything yet from my stack that I brought home with me. Have you guys read anything?
Well, I've read almost everything that I got because I just got special editions.
So you were like purchasing. Well, there's a couple on here. I really still want to read the Song of the Forever Rains. I have not picked that up yet. I'm pretty excited for that. Unfortunately, I've been in a little bit of a slump again. Like, I got out of it, then finished a couple good, like really good, like 5 stars for me recently, and put me right back into a slump.
What were the 5 stars?
Funny story and Just for the Summer. I read both of those back to back, and they're just like 2 of my favorite authors, and like that's all it takes. It's just like, especially one that you felt like you were waiting and really excited for, and it just turned out to be really good, made you really happy. And then everything I've picked up since, like, it's literally no shade to any of those books, I just cannot get into them in a weird way. So I tried to do what I said I did last time, which was switch genres. I picked up a thriller. Um, oh, First Lie Wins, I think, or some. Oh, great.
Look it up.
Let me look it up. Jeez. I said I remembered what it was called, but anyway, hold on. Is that That's definitely not it. How can one be so wrong? That's not even close. I should have my Kindle with me. This is bad. What's that? Is it The Housemaid? What's that really popular? Oh yeah, that's the author. So let's go to her.
Oh,
Frida McFadden. I'm gonna have to mark this.
God, my back just cracked.
Oh, I wish my back would crack.
Stop. Right now. Okay, I got it. Okay, so I picked up. It was actually on Kindle Unlimited, but I picked up Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I know she has The Housemaid is pretty popular of hers, like a thriller, and it's not bad. I really liked it. It was really scary.
Oh.
But there has been like a little bit of a plot twist at the point I was at, and instead of being like excited about it, it just made me really mad. I think I've got like a couple chapters left, and great, and like my like palate cleanse has now become like a late stage DNF, and I'm like, this is bad. We've got to get away from this. We've got to get out of here. What are you guys reading, or what have you finished recently, or what are you excited to read?
I honestly cannot for the life of me remember the last book I finished, but I'm also reading like 5 books at the same time, so that might be adding to the problem. Or
the confusion.
I think we have identified the problem. But I am reading Just for the Summer, Abby Jimenez. I'm probably 200 pages in, so I don't really have that much. I guess that's like 50% of the way through. Really loving it. I'm obsessed with the characters. They're so cutie. I love his little quizzes that he sends after the dates. Like, he is like such a precious gem of a man. I'm obsessed. And then also reading The Familiar. I am not far into it at all, but I really am vibing with it. And then what's the third? Oh, and then I'm reading wait.
Pause for dramatic effect.
Wait, and then I'm also reading I keep switching the words around like I'm a freaking dyslexic. Also,
can't wait to clip all this. Mark.
Good.
And then I'm also reading All of My Love by Morgan Elizabeth, which I am probably 30% of the way through. And I said, I'm going to stop and start reading the physical copy because I do want to annotate it. Because I will say, I think this is her best book yet. Everything of hers is very like spicy, fun, lighthearted. This has a different energy to it, and I say that in the best way possible. Like, I'm really, really loving it. So again, 30% of the way through, but I'm gonna start picking up the physical copy and annotate because I'm loving it.
I just downloaded that on my Kindle like 2 days ago. Like, my mom came in town this weekend, so I like wanted to read in so many opportunities, but I was like, no, it's okay. I will start this week. So like, when you start and you're like, I don't want to start. You have to be like, if it's a book you're like really excited about, you can't start knowing you're gonna immediately have to put it down. So I'm so excited to like dive into that one this week for sure.
That's what I did. I did start it on my Kindle, and I'm only like a few chapters in. So good. I'm like hooked, but I had to stop to start reading the books that I actually have to for work. So
for my job.
For your job.
Life is so hard. I have to stop reading one book to read another. But it is good. It's really good.
Anything else you finished recently or are...
I finished this morning the book that we're reading for the podcast. Late as usual. So just finished that one. Fate, Ink, and Blood. So fun. But I just finished Daughter of No Worlds before that. Which is good. And then
just good. You just thought it was good. No additional notes?
I think once I finished it, I was like, oh my God, so good. Like, loved it. And now I couldn't tell you a single thing about it.
I don't remember what happened, but I can tell you that I liked it.
I really liked the guy in it and the girl. Yes. I thought they were both like good characters. I don't think I found anyone annoying. And I do want to read the second book, but I just have to recap it because I don't remember. But I'm also currently tandem reading Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates.
Oh my God.
For
the first time though, right? Like you haven't read them before. You're actually getting to tandem read.
I finished the first and second book, and then someone said, oh, you should tandem read. So I'm tandem the third and fourth right now.
So how far are you?
Not far at all.
Oh my God. Okay.
Chapters, you need to stop to read.
I'm so curious what your experience is going to be like, because I don't think you did the tandem read, did you?
No, the tandem read, I'm not gonna lie, it's like not like it wasn't a possibility, but it's a very recent, like, you guys should
development.
And now I'm starting to hear a lot of people talking about like they're gonna reread it and do tandem, but I don't know that I've met a person yet who's tandem read it the first time.
So I'm so curious like what your experience is going to be. You'll have to update us.
I almost didn't do it, but the first Magnolia Parks I did struggle to get through just because I didn't like the characters that much, but I did like Daisy Hates. So I thought maybe tandem reading this will help me like deal with the Magnolia Park characters and like because I want to get to the Daisy Hates plotline. So I'll let you know. Hopefully it's good.
I can't wait to hear more. I did just pick up, which I feel like everyone's been talking about it a lot, Ashley Poston's 7-Year Slip.
I recently bought that and I haven't started it.
We have had it. We've had it in like we've had all of her books in the store, and I've just been so like the covers look cute, the concepts sound really cool. I just didn't actually personally know too many people who had read them, and then all it took was one person to mention it, and then someone else mentioned it, and then her new book is coming out, and I'm like, okay, you know what? That's it.
Yeah,
I literally stopped everything I was doing and like started 7-Year Slip. It was very good. It was very.
Oh, you finished it. It's like magical realism, correct?
Yes. So I think someone else who does that is like Rebecca Searle, I believe. Yeah. I've read a couple of hers. It's similar in that, like, and it also both remind me a lot of like the way Emily Henry's sort of literary fiction style, like romance, yes, but it has like a lot of there's a lot of character development. There's a lot of character driven plot elements. And so in 7-Year Slip, it's basically this kind of magical apartment where, you know, you walk in and you could slip 7 years into the past, like in that idea. And, but it's just such a small magical element, but man, do I really love that concept in romance. Like
I love magical realism. I think it is one of the genres that I think we're going to see a lot more popular books through Book Talk this next year. I feel like it's like on the rise because I think it's all these like girls who want fantasy but also want romance. Romantasy is kind of like hitting like a wall, if you will, and so like teeters between those two, and I think it's just so fun. So I feel like we're going to see a lot more books become popular or more released like it. At least I hope so, because I feel like I've been seeing all these like magical realism, like at least on my feed, start popping up as like recommendations, and that one is like the headliner, and I see there's so many girls that have read it because it came out
a while ago.
Yeah, at least 6 or 8 months
I'm a little mad I didn't get to it sooner because it does remind me of that, like it gives me those Emily Henry vibes that I like really love and I'm always looking for. So I cried a couple times, like it was good. I'm gonna read, I've heard people have like mixed feelings about like the I think the Dead Romantics is the other one. It's like a ghost element. And like people tend to, I feel like people feel really strongly about which one they like more. So I'm excited to try that just to see, because it's like I wonder if I'm gonna like it more because of how much I liked the 7-Year Slip. But the concept for her A Novel Story, which is her new one, which I think we just got an arc in, so I need to But I don't know. I'm like weird. I'm like, I want to read the Deborah. I feel like I need to read all of her work now. I don't know. I know they're not like connected or anything, but I feel like I need to read the other one first. But a novel story, the concept sounds absolutely amazing. It's like she slips into a city that is like from her favorite romance series, and it's one that wasn't finished. And I'm like, oh, so it's literally like, think about it gave me the vibes of like Sunshine Falls of book lovers, but like it's like falling into the actual novel as opposed to it being based on one. And I'm like, that sounds so good. Like it has to be so good. I'll be so sad if it's not like amazing.
I'm obsessed. It sounds like a show that should be like on CW back in the day. Like,
that sounds perfect. Oh, yeah. It's gonna like the CW needs to come back to make the
we need a CW Renaissance.
Yes,
and they should just do all book adaptations of like popular book talk books. Booker.
Someone reach out to CW right now. Where are they? Someone check in.
It reminds me, I just got a book. I think it came out last month, and it's called it's right behind me. I know it is. It's right there. The Cemetery of Untold Stories.
Ooh.
And it's about a woman who is a writer, and she like can't get one story, like good story out of herself. So she moves and she buries all of her like drafts and manuscripts and unfinished books in her backyard in like this little cemetery. And then the pages like get mad at her for burying them, and like to get revenge on her, they finish the stories and they come together and they like finish themselves, and like somehow I think she might dig them up and then publish them, and then it's like I don't know, it's something, it is like magical realism. I don't think there's any romantic aspect in it, but it sounds really good. And it's like right there, it's like a pretty thin book, so I don't think it's gonna take that long to finish. But
did you say the title
so
of it?
Cool.
Yeah, The Cemetery of Untold Stories.
Cemetery of Untold Stories.
Is it a pretty cover? It feels like a show cover.
Here, I can grab it. It's literally right there.
For the content.
Like a little haul.
Oh, it is pretty.
Wait, it's so beautiful.
And it's really short. It's only 243 pages.
Speaking of baby books, I do have Powerful, the tiny baby novella to Powerless. I have not picked that up yet. I just haven't been in the mental space. Knowing the character that it's about and knowing what, like, you, again, I know, like a prequel, you kind of know what's going to happen. So without any spoilers, I'm like, I'm just not mentally, and I've literally just watched girls cry on the internet who just finished it. So
yeah,
when I'm in a better place, you know?
I think I might read it when the second, did she release the title of the second book yet?
Reckless, which,
yeah, I might read it closer to Reckless. Before that comes out for like
little moment. Can we talk about the irony of and I know none of this was obviously intentional, but the irony of there being Elsie Silver's Powerless, also the next book in the series is called Reckless. It's just confusing to say the least. Like as in a bookstore, we'll be talking about Powerless and Reckless, and we'll be like, wait. Which subgenre of romance are we talking here? Cowboy or fantasy? Is that not weird and wild?
I hadn't even thought about that, but you're so right. So we can just assume that, what's the third book in that series by Elsie?
You got Reckless.
Heartless.
Flawless. Hopeless.
Yeah.
Heartless.
I could see any of those working. I don't know. It's
Powerless.
just a weird coincidence.
Reckless, hopeless, heartless, flawless. Ooh, flawless maybe not, but for sure, heartless and hopeless are going to be Lauren Roberts. That's just so weird.
Really putting yourself in a box.
Yeah,
like naming Because then you have to continue, and it's like, how many words?
In your, like, I guess your different subgenres, but also, like, within the same community of people who have to talk about a book. Also, not to mention, I still find myself getting frustrated when, like, even Emily Henry, I know she can do no wrong, but, like, girl, when I want to look up the aesthetic of your book and I literally have to, like, add the word book after it, because they're like, beach read, book, Emily Henry aesthetic. You can't just say beach read, because beach read is a very generic term. And then funny story, like, I understand that is her shtick, and it's fine. It's just not very helpful when you want to look up stuff about her book.
I like how she's going the two word titles now instead of people we meet on vacation, because just writing that out pissed me off, like, for no reason. Like, it's a fine title, but, like, for some reason I was like, shorten it a bit.
What is it in overseas? Isn't it it's a different title.
Friends we have on vacation or something like that.
The friends we made along the way.
Friends who vacation together, like something like that.
It's like, why?
Again, so generic, we literally can't remember it. I mean, I guess naming a book it's gotta be hard, but, like, to each their own.
I do like when you're reading a book and the title is, like, in there. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, there it is. But I know some people hate it. I like it.
I love that. I'm like, oh my God, it's happening.
Like it's like an Easter egg, but it's not even an Easter egg because it's just so obvious. It's, like, right there. But I'm like, oh, I found it.
There it is. Oh, wow. Oh, anything else, you guys? I know there's more, but also being in a book slump means, like, I'm trying not to think of all the books I want to read, because for some reason that just, like, slumps me more. It's a bad place to be. I know I'm not but I've had some really good reads, so I'm very helpful. I'll get back into it, but maybe I need to try, like, a literary, because the thriller palette cleanser wasn't really working. Maybe I just need to pick up, like, a literary fiction instead.
I feel like this is going to be the best palette cleanser, but I just have to finish work first before I can read it.
I've got other things I've got to do. I do need to finish The Familiar. I feel like I just got to a good point in that book, and I need to probably just pick it back up, because I'm at, the where the story picks up. I'm, like, there, and if I just pick it back up and give it a chance, I'll get, like, sucked in, I'm sure. So, but I don't want to get in Katie's boat and just start 5 books.
Yeah, I don't recommend. Like, I don't even know how I got here. Like, it just happened. It happened to me, okay? Like, I don't know, and I don't recommend.
My nightstand right now is, like, 15 to 20 books just stacked, and I don't want to say they're DNFs, because I'm going to finish them. They're just waiting there.
We need a new phrase. It's not, like, to be finished.
They're
like
on
TBR,
hold.
TBF.
Yeah.
TBF.
To be finished. Not to be, not finished, but will be finished. I will read that book.
Eventually, yeah.
I have some of those from, like, a year ago.
Yeah.
I'm still holding on. I still have a bookmark in place.
I still have some from, like, 3 years ago that I'm like, I will come back to you. You haven't seen the last of me yet.
I have a new challenge for us. We need to, for an episode in the future, we all need to go back to, like, one of our, like, oldest put down, need to finish books and pick it up and finish, like, actually finish it.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We can't go.
You can't reread. No,
you can't reread it. You have to pick up where you left off and just hope for the best.
Go and sprint. Run for that finish line.
Wait, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Jennifer L. Armentrout, here I come.
Oh, Devin, I don't know if that's worth it.
I think you can veto that one.
He's so confused.
Someone's got to finish those books.
Shit. Someone has to.
Not us, though. So that's all I have for today.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up.
Wraps it up. To be continued.
To be continued.
See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.